What's up, guys? Crazy Star Wars Fan 108 here, and I'm back to do the review of the hour-long Twilight of the Apprentice. Best animated episode of any Star Wars thing ever. Man, yeah, it's pretty damn good. I mean, there's episodes like Landing at Point Rain that's really good from Season 2 of the Clone Wars, and there's episodes like, what's it, The Wrong Jedi, the final episode of Season 5 of the Clone Wars. But this episode, let's just start from the top. So they get there, the Malachor, the Jedi apparently were forbidden to go there because some ancient battle happened. There's always a bit of truth in legends. All the legends people sitting here like, what truth though? Like, how much truth is there to legends? Because I needs to know how much truth there is to the legends so I can know what the legends is, continuity or canon or not canon. You know, the thing with the, it's, yeah. But I, for one, wasn't really caring too much currently about that. I was more caring about what's going to happen for the characters. Okay, they get on Malachor, they get down the planet, do their thing. Oh no, look, all these bodies left. Oh, lightsaber. This looks familiar. Kylo Ren opened up the visual the guide. Lightsaber dates back to the Great Scourge of Malachor. Huh. The Great Scourge of Malachor. Okay, so we're past that. I'll stop. Ezra does that, but then, oh no, God, Inquisitor number 3 comes in. He's basically been hunting Darth Maul. Ezra falls down the hole. Darth Maul's in the hole. You seek knowledge, call me old master. That whole part happens, but what we really saw was really cool was the stuff with Maul basically word for word having lines that were Yoda's lines from when Yoda first met Luke on Dagobah. I'm wondering, why are you here? Things like that. So it was really cool to see all that happen, to see all that go and come forth in this episode itself. And just seeing that conversation. Basically, he and Ezra move towards the Sith Temple, while Kanan and Ahsoka chase after the Third Inquisitor. Chopper helps, really cool, hops inside the fire, starts shooting at the Inquisitor in the fire, which is pretty cool. And then they corner him, and they capture him. Ezra and Maul continue to go further into the temple, and then the Sith, rule of 2, it takes 2 to get them to the temple, and Ezra has to tap into his anger using the dark side of the Force to lift the parts of the Sith temple, because that's the only way no Jedi can get into the Sith temple, but Sith, can if they tap into their anger. So he uses his anger to lift the different arcs, and they have to trust each other. Now, I believe, in my mind, the Sith could never actually... The reason why Palpatine and Vader haven't been able to do this is because the Sith don't trust each other, really. There is no trust there, because it's the rule of 2. One's in by the power, the other crave it. So... They basically, Ezra and Maul get all the way through, and they do the whole thing where Ezra jumps, and he uses a force push to push him over to the thing, and Ezra grabs the holocron. Now the place starts getting activated, and weird stuff happens, and Maul tells him to trust him to jump. If you have 2 Sith there, if you have Vader and Palpatine, Vader's not going to trust Palpatine, and Palpatine tells him to jump. Neither is Palpatine going to trust Vader if Vader tells him to jump. Because the whole rule, too, is that the apprentice is supposed to kill the master. So... When Ezra does jump and trust that moment where Maul grabs the holocron and is pulling him up with the holocron, and Maul pulls him up, that was Vader and Palpatine. If Vader was on the receiving end, he would just let him go for sure. Same with Palpatine, most likely. Unless Palpatine feels like he could really value and do better by having Vader be around. So, that's that. So they go and then they come out, and there's all the other Inquisitors, they're all fighting, and Maul jumps into the fight. This cane that is a piece of like an Inquisitor lightsaber, kind of, he pulls it out. It's the dual blade lightsaber. He goes to work. Cool, awesome. They fight for a second, they leave. And then basically, Ahsoka's like, that's Maul. Like, that's not a good guy. No. And Kanan's where that Ezra is trusting Maul, listening to everything Maul's saying. And Ahsoka's saying, no, you should trust him because, you trained him. You should know how to work with him. And the Inquisitors leave, and then they come back, and they start attacking them as they're going up to the top of the temple, because Maul tells them, if you want to gain the knowledge you want, you gotta get to the top of the temple, put it in, you can get the knowledge that you seek. That's a lie. We'll get to the lie later. So he goes and he transcends. They transcend the levels. They separate, and Maul and Ezra go together. And then so the Seventh Sister, I think that's her name, comes, and she is attacking Ezra and Maul. Ezra and Maul fighting, and Ezra and Maul's teaching the whole time, going, good, give into your aggressive feelings and all this stuff. It's really cool and good. He's pushing him, pushing him, pushing him, and now the Maul lifts her up a force stroke. He's like, okay, strike her down, kill her. And Ezra has her lift. Ezra is there to strike her down, but he can't do it. Maul gets mad, throws his lightsaber at her, implied decapitation, killed her. And Ezra's just like, and Maul's like, if you hesitate, next time you could die. Which is true, but at the same time, a Jedi just doesn't strike down in cold blood like that. Moving forward, then they get to the top point, and Maul tells him, "Okay, Ezra, you go ahead, go put the thing in the temple, go get the knowledge. I'm gonna go help your friends." Right. He does go help the friends. He does come down, and him and Ahsoka and Kanan, they're fighting the other two Inquisitors, and they're fighting them, and Kanan messes up the new guy's lightsaber, and he goes to fly off with the helicopter type thing they're doing, which it's cool, but I don't really think it makes sense. But he goes and does that, and then as he takes off and flies, the lightsaber implodes and he falls to his death. But a couple people fall late in the episode, so we're not sure if that really happens. Or we're not sure they're really dead. I'll get onto that in a second. Ahsoka and Maul pushing towards the seventh brother, whatever his name is, and in the process of all that happening, he ends up getting killed by Maul. Maul just straight stabs him, and it's just like, okay, dope, you do your thing, go ahead and kill him. I can't trip. And it was cool, because Ahsoka doesn't have any reaction to that, and Kanan doesn't really have any reaction to it either. But just really quick, and it happens pretty quickly, and then we're done with that. And then so Maul stands there for a second, and he asks Maul, like, where's Ezra? And Maul's like, you mean my apprentice? And he like strikes Kanan with a lightsaber and basically cut and burned his eyes, so Kanan can't see. Kanan lost his eyes in this episode. He's sitting there he lost his vision, and then as that's happening, Ahsoka starts fighting Maul, and Maul's like, "You gonna run away again, Lady Tano?" And she's like, if you really want to fight me, you have to worry about him first, because while they're fighting, Kanan takes and picks up a mask, the helmets of one of the Jedi Knights, the Jedi Temple Guard. And my belief is that the Inquisitors have come to Malachor before, and I believe that is the Grand Inquisitor from Season 1, the one that we found out was a Jedi Temple Guard before he became an Inquisitor. I believe that's his mask. The markings, I think, are no different from person to person, but I think it'd be really cool that is his mask. So he dons that, and he uses the Force, and he's very in tune with his surroundings and listening to how Maul's moving. And in the process of that, he goes, and as the two of them are fighting and exchanging blows, Kanan dodges and strikes Maul, and Maul falls. But he doesn't die. He shows up later in the episode, and he's leaving Malachor and an Inquisitor TIE Fighter. So, now we get on to what happens on top. So, they had alerted Vader that, Maul and all of them were there. Ahsoka heads up to the top, and Vader comes in on his TIE Fighter, comes down, jumps towards Ezra, and starts fighting with Ezra, and he's like, he says, "I see that you activated the temple, how could someone like you do this?" Like, and he's, Ezra says something that's really, really funny. It's like, "You're so smart, you should know." And it's like, come on, like, why are you talking back to Vader, dude? You're not gonna do anything. And Vader strikes him down, cuts apart his lightsaber too, and Ezra's about to get struck down. But then Ahsoka shows up, and then they start talking, and they're talking about things. And Vader surprisingly, to me, I'm not sure. Does he have remorse? Does he not have remorse? I'm not sure. By the end of the episode, I'm positive about how he feels, but he first offers by saying, we don't have to be enemies. You could tell us where the rest of the Jedi are. And if you do that, the Emperor and I will have mercy on you. We won't kill you. And Ahsoka's like, there are no more Jedi. And Ahsoka says something about how, like, my master wouldn't have been like this. And he just talks about, Anakin Skywalker was weak and all those other things. That's why I killed and destroyed him. And Ahsoka's like, then I'm going to get vengeance for him. And now their fight begins, and they're fighting, and then Kanan comes up to the top, and Kanan and Ezra, they remove the holocron from the things, because the holocron Ezra put in activates, it's a super weapon. I don't know if it's like Starkiller base, I don't know if it's like the Death Star, I don't know what type of super weapon it is, but if you go back to how the Knights of the Republic canon had it in Legends, it might be a super weapon on that type of scale. Just a thought. moving forward anyway, as the two of them are fighting and stuff, Kanan and Ezra get the holocron. They start leaving. Kanan is wearing the mask, and Ezra realizes he's blind now, which is sad. Which is like, I think about like everything that's happened in this episode. That's the thing I'm most sad about, because it's just like, man, Kanan's blind now. That sucks. Ahsoka and Vader fight, and Ahsoka gets pushed down. She falls off the temple, and she falls to the lower level. But she does work her way back up, because as the temple is coming down, Kanan and Ezra are leading. Vader reaches out with the Force to grab the holocron from Ezra, is pulling him towards him, but they're holding on, not getting. And Ahsoka comes in, and she comes in, does a strike, and we hear to me, I thought it was fun because James Earl Jones is doing the voice, and he lets out like a wail, and the wail is the exact same type of sound that he makes when Luke cuts off his hand, which I thought was interesting. But that happens. And Ahsoka, this is where we'll get into discussion here in a bit, but Ahsoka cuts him right across the helmet here, so you can see Anakin's face, which is weird because it looks healed for the most part, which is cool in like a weird way. I mean, it has been like, what, 19 years? Not 19 years. It has been like, what, 15 years since Revenge of the Sith, so I don't know how burns heal like that, but I mean, I know how he looks in Return of the Jedi, so. But anyway. So the two of them are talking, and Ahsoka, as the thing's coming out, she says, "I will not leave you this time," which goes back to the whole thing where in the 3 weeks ago, where she was saying the whole thing like, Ahsoka, like, why did you leave? And because Anakin being upset with her for that, and then Anakin says, "Okay, well, if you won't leave, then you will die." And I'm like, oh, okay, way to be a dick, Anakin. So the two of them start fighting, and Ezra's crying as Kanan's pulling when they get onto the Ghost, and they leave, or the Phantom. And they leave as the temple comes down. Big explosion happens. Then we get to see this music plays as they come back to the base. Ezra and Kanan get off, and Ezra's kind of like sad, and he looks and he sees how Hera reacts to seeing Kanan being blind. She embraces and hugs him, and she's sad. Then we look to see Rex, though. Rex sees that Ahsoka's not with him, and he has a moment of sadness as well. Then we cut back to Malachor. We see Maul leaving Malachor in a TIE fighter. But we also see Vader walking away from the rebels in the ashes of the thing. And then we do like a rear pan in that goes into the temple and zooms in with this bird that flies in, and then it changes into the Ghost. So we don't see anything inside the temple really. And then the Ghost, we see that Kanan is kind of get adjusted to not having a sight. The crew is working, but Ezra is sitting, and maybe Kanan realizing that Ezra, especially with the Jedi, not the Jedi holocron, with the Sith holocron, because Ezra's sitting there, he activates it with the Force, and he opens it, and a bright light appears in Star Wars Rebels. And that's in the season. Rebels Recon, as the time of me recording this, has not come out yet, so I don't have anything to talk about with that. I will do videos about that as the week continues on. But, oh my god. Okay, now we can talk about some of the actual things. I don't know how to feel about Vader getting Ahsoka landing a hit on Vader like that. I'm happy that... No, I didn't say Ahsoka died in this, because I do not think Ahsoka's dead. We didn't see her die, we didn't see her body, we didn't see Vader strike her down, we didn't see any moment... There was not a single moment there where it's like, this is goodbye. You know, for a character this big, there was not a single moment like that. And in my mind, her character, as important as it is to the fan base, and as important as it is to Dave Filoni, and as important as her character is within the universe and within this context, she did not fall there. She will fall, my opinion, season 3. I know my predictions was that she would die, but she didn't. So that in itself is very interesting. I mean, she could be dead, but I just don't believe it. If the whole thing with the Grand Inquisitor that happened last season, you know, doesn't... even though that's still... he's not really not dead. I mean, he is dead. And then there's the Force thing. Jedi Spirit. I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't think Ahsoka's dead. Put it simply like that. Vader walked away, but Vader and her will face and meet again, and Vader will strike her down, and that will be good. Don't know how though. Kanan and Ezra, I don't know where that relationship's going to go, but I'm still going to stand by the fact that I think Ezra is Snoke, because if you look at these characters that they put into these series. And I'll do individual discussion theories about this. Just when you look at these different characters, you really can't put these characters into these situations and have them... Why build that into their character arc an arc of them learning and embracing the dark side somewhat, just to have them die by the time episode 4 begins. I don't think he dies. I think Ezra is our outlier among the cast of characters, similar to Ahsoka was in the Clone Wars. But time will tell with that. Maul's still alive and escaping. This dude just loves to somehow survive. Get chopped in half, come back skeleton legs, lose again, come back with new legs, lose again, get in prison, escape, fight everyone that's an enemy during the Clone Wars that's basically a Sith, escape, did something for like 19 years, for like 15 years, I'm on Malachor, call me old master, it's crazy. So, all in all, the episode was, Fire Across the Galaxy last year was amazing. That was 30 minutes of simply amazingness. But this week's hour-long final, probably the best Star Wars I've seen, TV-wise. So, I'll be doing individual videos talking about some more things later, guys, but I want to thank you all for watching this review, and until next time, guys, peace, and may the Force be with you always.